once again, welcome back. It's the Master Channel Pocast. We are back. I am DJ Widebody.
And I'm CX, the producer.
And this is the Master Channel Podcast where we discuss the ins and outs of this hip-hop thing of ours, both theoretically and technically. That's right. Been a long hiatus, but we're finally back, ladies and gentlemen. We got a special treat for you today. All the way from Fayetteville, North Carolina. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm welcome to B8 Mac.
Everybody.
What's up?
What's up, BA?
What's going on, BA? Nothing much, man.
Doing good.
Thank you so much for being on the Master Channel. We definitely appreciate it. Definitely short notice. Appreciate you being here. We're just gonna sit back, have some fun, converse a little bit here, converse a little bit there. You know, take it from there. So does that sound good to you?
Sounds good to me.
All right. I always like to open it up real quick. We're going to establish where it all started. Tell me how you got into music production. Where did it all start? You know, go ahead and take us back there.
It actually started, I had a friend of mine that he had just moved up from Atlanta back whenever I was in high school, probably like junior year. And with me growing up in, you know, or at least going to school kind of like in the country, nobody really knew anything about music production or anything like that. And so he was the first person that had like this little small, like, I think it might have been like an Akai beat machine or something like that. So he would bring it to school in his backpack, and he would play beats and stuff for people, and it was like intriguing to me because nobody knew anything about that kind of stuff. And so after high school, me and him would still kind of like chop it up and whatnot. He introduced me to Fruity Loops. And so at the time I didn't, you know, I was working at Payless Shoe Store, so I didn't really have the money to buy it. So I ended up getting a pirated copy of Fruity Loops 2
Join the club
off the internet. Yeah.
Everybody had that.
Right.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I ended up putting it on like our family computer in the living room, and I would just go in there and didn't have a keyboard, didn't have any you know, analog gear, nothing like that. So it was pretty much like mouse clicking in drum patterns and notes and stuff like that. And I would make, you know, beats that way. And I mean, I essentially just would just make them just to listen to the, you know, ride to school once I started my freshman year in college. So that was kind of where it all got started for me.
Nice.
Well, let me ask you something, right? That mouse clicking and that pattern stuff, it helped you probably later on in your career with music, using what you're using now, probably. Yeah,
because like I know, like especially with a lot of stuff going back to standalone right now, especially with the whole, you know, Akai MPC pretty much destroying everything else on the market right now. It's not so bad for me to be quote unquote in the box,
right, or
to like sit at a computer and work at stuff, because I was so used to it in the beginning, and it was actually harder for me like later down the line. Like I've only had, like, I ended up getting the MPC Touch like last year. So the whole, and then that's still, you know, attached to a computer. So, you know, the whole analog stuff, it didn't really, I guess, phase me so much, because I was so used to starting off that way that I've just continued,
right,
you know, production that way.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah. Go ahead.
Let me ask you something. You DJ as well, right?
Oh, no. That's not that's out of my scheme there.
Oh, I thought you DJ'd as well.
I wish I knew how. That's one of the things that I've always wanted to pick up, but never really took the time to pick up on it.
Transition wouldn't be that hard at all. You know, you count beats in, you make sure you know it's kind of similar like that as far as transitions. That's how I see it, at least. But it wouldn't, you know, right in the same vein, I think, most of the time.
It's somewhat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's somewhat. I mean, to be honest with you, having a DJ background, then going into beat making or production is a plus. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it always seems like it's the like the opposite, like you said. Like you find more DJs that like easily slide into production as opposed to people that started off in production trying to slide into DJing.
I actually started off DJing, you know, when I was like 14. And I got tired of playing other people's records. that's why I got into production. But you say you started off with FL Studio. A lot of people out here started off with FL Studio, and was it hard transitioning from the FL Studio to whatever what was the next step after that?
See, the thing is, like, I kind of had a love-hate relationship with FL Studio, and even like now, I will like work in it every now and then, but like I'm Ableton like all the way right now. Like Ableton is pretty much my main production hub. But I mean, FL Studio, it was just really easy in the beginning to learn how to use and to really be able to create. But then it kind of seemed like that as it started gaining popularity, that it was either heading in the trap direction or catering towards EDM. And I didn't really fit in either of those two categories, so it kind of eventually lost me as it started updating a lot.
Well, FL always be calling you back. I'm a FL user. It always somehow calls you back.
You know what? It hasn't. Like I said, I will dabble in it every now and then just to kind of not completely lose the workflow of it. But I think once I started kind of picking up playing guitar and bass a little bit more with audio recording stuff, it's so much easier for me to be able to come up with something and then like grab my bass and play a bass line and then throw a little guitar lick or something like that in it audio wise in Ableton than it is in FL Studio, because I hate recording audio in FL Studio. Absolutely hate it. So it used to draw me back and forth, but not so much now like it used to.
So what number FL Studio did you start out with?
2. Number 2, back when I was Fruity Loops 2.
Fruity Loops, yeah. I dabbled with 7 for a lot of years, and I was DJing at the time and kind of put it down. But I picked it back up the same way. I didn't really have a controller, just mess with the keyboard and stuff. Kind of when I went back was Machine, and kind of all that stuff that you learn from clicking the mouse kind of like fit in. Then Machine kind of, I think kind of threw a lot of people off as far as because at the time you either people were still either dealing with the old MPCs or Machine, because I never had any kind of like drum machine kind of thing. It was whenever the first Native Instruments machine came out was the very first like pad controller or whatnot that I ever used. So that was a learning process in and of itself. But so it took me away from FL for a little bit. Right. So let me ask you this: I always wanted to know, how many instruments do you play?
I play flute.
Okay.
I dabble in the keys, and then I play guitar and bass.
Wow.
What? Like Tony Baker said, I never knew.
Word up. I listen to some of your stuff. I see, just every time like a Facebook video, I always see you messing around with the guitar. I said, I bet you she played more than just the guitar. I know you seem so. How long you been playing those?
I've only been playing guitar and bass maybe like a year.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, like I've had here's the thing, I have had them for longer than a year, but I've never, like over the past years, whenever I kind of really sat down and kind of started like really trying to take them a little more serious than anything else,
Wow, that's dope though. I mean that's something that you put in your toolbox, your arsenal.
Yeah, bass is my baby. I love playing bass. I think I love playing bass more than anything else.
Yeah.
Well, let me say this, BA. Say like what you used to do, right? When you made a beat or something like that, before you started playing bass, right? You would use a bass patch, right?
Right.
So now that you're playing bass like that, do you still use bass patches, or you're like now, like, nah, I gotta play real bass on this?
You know what? Most of the time, unless it's like something where the track like calls for something a little more like synthetic, like a synthy kind of bass or sub bass, or like a sine kind of bass or something like that, the majority of the time I'll just play it, because it kind of gives, especially if it's something more along the lines of like hip hop and it's got a loose feel to it, I can't use a bass patch. I have to play it, because it's once you kind of develop that groove with playing the bass, you can get that looseness of that bass line much better playing it live than trying to use a bass patch and play it with keys.
Wow,
at least for me.
That's a jewel. That's a jewel you just threw.
Yeah, I mean, and plus you playing bass like that. I mean, it's so many possibilities. Because like if you say you're using Ableton, you can literally play a live bass and then extract the melody from that, and use a synth patch to play it back like you played it. It's so many possibilities. If I knew how to play bass, I would be playing them on every track I make.
Right. You and me both.
I mean, especially sample, like any time, because like I like to like create, like as Netmaker would say, the organics. I like to do original stuff more than like sample chopping, but I still do sample chopping just to kind of keep at it and not lose that that ability. But anytime I do sample based stuff, it's absolutely playing live bass. Like I'm not even messing with the bass patch. It's live bass.
I'm glad you said that. So you being an instrumentalist and as well as a sample bass, you hear a lot of people that never do samples saying how easy sampling is. I tend to disagree. I feel that sampling and chopping is an art form. And someone, I've seen the arguments when it comes to all you guys are taking stuff and looping them. No, we're not. You got to put it back together and you make it make sense. So you be on the both side of the spectrum. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, absolutely. Because like, I even find myself, like I said, whenever I've gone through a period of time where I've been producing just like original stuff, and then I'm like, I'm gonna go through my because I have a folder that's just like sample chopping, and I'll go through stuff and I'm like, okay, I think I might want to chop that up, and it's like, okay, Brittany, you gotta sit here, and it's almost like I have to really, really dissect the track before I even start chopping, like thinking about what I'm going to chop before I even start chopping. And then once you get your chops together, it's trying to musically put it together to actually make sense, because you can't, like I've seen like some people like even make YouTube videos of chop every four counts or something like that, and then just 1 2 3 4 something like that. It's like, you first of all, every song is not going to work like that just based on time signatures and stuff like that, but you can't just hit pads and randomly expect something to come out. I mean, sometimes it might just work out that way, but you have to be able to put it together to musically make sense, even when you're chopping.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, because as somebody who just started chopping samples myself, I would say this: what if you get a sample and it's a warmer? You understand what I'm saying? What everything is not on beat as far as the sample. You know what I'm saying? Where the band is just warming up. Then how are you going to chop time signature wise?
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying? So I don't never go by, me personally, I don't go by that time signature chop, because people always ask, how do you chop this, that, and I was like, however you want to.
Yeah. Because I mean, and sometimes like some of the, especially when you start looking in the forums and stuff like that too, like some people, and this is like the music nerd moment, but some people literally think that like every song is created in 4/4 time, and it's not. So you're not going to be able to do just the regular 1 2 3 4 2. You're not going to be able to chop it like that, because it doesn't work for every track.
Nah, it doesn't. I mean, you may get a sample and that may be back in the Stax days or something, was a 5/4 or some crazy stuff like that, and there's no formula to it, what I'm saying? It's no formula. I mean, you could say that with a breakbeat in a sense, but everything else you can't say, you know what I'm saying? Can't say.
Yeah, it's kind of, I mean, it's all kind of dependent upon the track. For me.
And feeling.
Yeah. But it's definitely not, it's not an easier art form, like some people try to make it seem like that, chopping is the easy route, and that people want to get on their instrumentalist snobbery and feel like that, oh, we are the elite, but no, it's not like that.
I feel that way with a lot of these record purists now, and I take it back to when we went and basically, from my story is anything I can get a hold of to sample. We didn't have libraries, so if I sample off of TV, radio, VCR tape, anything I get my hands on, to get open drums or anything I did, all of a sudden you come to 2019 and people are, oh, we're record purists, meaning you don't sample anything but records, no MP3s, no FLAC, no none of that. And I'm like, where the hell did this come from? Like, just you can be an elitist here or something, or because that's not like, I didn't get that feeling back then. Like, you only supposed to, we didn't have library and able to MP3 to wave and all that stuff. So
that's stupid anyway, because you think about if they want to go that purist, look at like when TV and film and stuff, these people are like going into the Arctic tundra with microphones just to record the how the wind sounds, to be able to put in something.
They do all that Foley work and all that type of stuff, and I feel you on that, Wildbody, because that's an argument that always used to come up from the record purists, and I look at it like I come from the era of, like you come from, of on the SP1200 and MPC 60 and all that. I come from that era. And I don't want to be digging for everything. And we sampled from everything. Everything that we can get the hands on. That stuff with RZA, with the woo and all that stuff. Man, a lot of them karate movies was on VCR tapes. They weren't on records. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yep. We knew it too. I'm like, oh man, he's into these kung fu flicks. This RZA cat. He, he old straight records now, bro. So yeah, I was, man. Look, I see a lot of, I like digging. I like using records. 70% of the time I'm using an MP3 or WAV file. Rarely I'll go sit down with all my records and go through them and start sampling stuff. Which, to me, I'm trying to hurry up, get my stuff online and start making music. If I can grab that real quick and there's a good sounding WAV or MP3 file, I'm rocking with that. Why would I go look for,
it's just all about people's workflow. Everybody is, there's some people that, maybe that's just, you want to go the long way around and that makes you feel better, as long as the track is dope. Or if somebody wants to, pull something off of YouTube, as long as it ends up being dope. I don't really care where you get it from.
Exactly.
Right. Now, BA, let me ask this one question as well. You say you're on Ableton right now, right? Mm-hmm. Are you still using the Touch?
Yeah, I still use the Touch. I pretty much, because here's the thing, like I've seen people, I still am not completely comfortable with doing sample chopping on Ableton. So I use the MPC like primarily as my sample chopping station. And then everything else that's like organic, I do on Ableton.
Wow.
I know it's probably the long way around to do things, but
no, it's not. Because I used to do the same thing. I've been using Ableton since Ableton 5, and I like to chopping on the MPC out of anything, and I had to push to like the one that Wildbody has, and it still wasn't like as fluid like the MPC was, as far as chopping. So at one time I was doing the same thing you were doing. I was using my Renaissance with Ableton, like chopping the samples in the Renaissance and then putting them in Ableton. So if that works for you, don't think it's counterproductive, because some of those, the push and all that is not for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I have the push too, but it's more of like a workflow thing for me to have it than anything else. It's not so much of like the pads and stuff. I do like, because I use drum racks like pretty much for every track. So I love having the, the ability to be able to play it in tangibly, but it's just the sample chopping thing in Ableton. It just, I don't get it the way that I want it exactly. So I just stick with MPC.
I love it.
You talking to the master Ableton man, Ableton chopper right now.
Let me tell you something.
Some of these videos you be making, I'm like, how in the world?
No, let me tell you something. You talking to CX? Now I know a lot of Ableton users. This dude knows that software like it's his thumbnail. Like he man, even the little time we went to Detroit, he was like the harmonize. I seen this dude make some magic out of this MIDI signals on Ableton when I first met him. You probably remember that, but it was all MIDI he did, man. It was crazy. Like he knows that software like the back of his hand. So
yep, because I think it was one of the hangouts, I think. I mean, one of the live streams that I ended up listening to CX and learned about the audio to MIDI.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even know about that,
yep.
And I'm like, well, let me go check this out. And it was just like humming some stuff in the microphone, and I'm like, it really does work.
Yep. Hey. Yeah. Drum racks too. Even how to
drum racks are incredible.
Yep. Absolutely.
Now I will say this: they got a new update for the MPC, and the Ableton export is crazy.
Oh, you got to show me.
Because I didn't have a chance to like completely read over the whole. Because I just kind of like opened it up one day and they were like, "You have an update available." I'm like, "Okay, let's go ahead and hit the update thing, move on to something else." But like, what does that do exactly?
Okay, this is how it works. Now, this feature was actually on the Force first, the Kai Force. They ported it over to the MPCs, the X and the Live, and the rest of it. I knew they was going to do that. Everybody knew they was going to do that anyway. Well, let's just say, like, you know how on the MPC you make your drums and then you use a sample, this, that, and other. Let's just say you split your drums up with the explode feature.
Right.
And then when you export the tracks you've done, it'll export them into an Ableton format. So when you open them back up, and when you open this up in Ableton, your drums separated will be clips in Ableton. The sample will be clips in Ableton.
What?
Wow. Yeah.
Oh, I gotta try that out.
Yeah. I'll be back.
Yeah, I mean, for somebody like you and somebody like Wild Body, I mean, I have a love-hate relationship with Ableton, but this will make me use Ableton as a finisher upper for beats I do in MPC, and you might want to check it out as well, PA, because like you just said, your workflow is MPC and Ableton.
Yeah.
So now it's like just exporting it, then dropping that in. I mean, opening it back up in Ableton. Boom, that's it.
Oh wow, man. I didn't know that's what it did.
That's what it does.
I downloaded it last night, and one thing that I noticed that I love is that now they're grouping the effects now. So now you ain't gotta freaking scroll all the way down to find the transient on T.
Right, and they put the sub mixes on standalone.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
What I love.
Thank you. About time. They're listening because I remember we were talking about that before, the grouping and the sub mixes. They're listening to I think that's one of the reasons why Akai is winning right now. Partly their updates are like box of chocolates, man. It's like I'm excited for updates. I've never been excited for an updating machine, or even say Ableton, which rarely does it. But man, this is every time they're improving. The splice feature, which I have splice, but I don't use a lot of the sounds. I look for drum breaks and splice, but man, it's like standalone. I remember you maybe last year when you acquired the Touch, you were like kind of torn between the Touch or the Live, and you say, you know what, I have a lot of plugins that I invested my money in. I'm going with the Touch. I think that's great,
Yeah, because I mean, I was afraid of not with like me not having an MPC background. I was afraid of investing $1,200 into the Live and then not like it. So I was like, let me just be safe.
Yeah. And
I'm willing to do the $399 or whatever, because I ended up getting the Touch like used. And I'm in ways I kind of regret it, because sometimes I do want to take it like standalone on the go.
Right.
But I'll eventually end up getting a live anyway.
I knew it.
Hey,
I would have gotten it recently, but I ended up getting a bass for my birthday. So
right.
so I can't do that right now.
It's all good.
I've seen that happen. Like some people have, stuck their stuck their big toe into the water with the touch, and then end up getting the live.
Yeah. I think that's what I think Gadget is doing that now. I think he was selling his MPC studio.
He had to have. All them lives on the retreat, he had no other choice.
Yeah, let me tell you something. I knew he was gonna unload that stuff because being at Power Blocks with him at times, he trying to hook the studio up, trying to do this, trying to do that, and then when we was on a retreat, he got all this stuff sitting over there. It's too much, and I think he got tired of it. And plus, he travels a lot, so
it makes sense.
Take that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm just advocating and Wild Body and all of us was advocating for people to get the live when we were on the retreat. I mean, Davenport was like, man, I'm done. I'm getting live, man. I'm done with all this.
Big old studio, man. Like, man,
I'm done. Only person stuck to their guns was Jay Bishop.
I was about to say probably Bishop.
Yep.
Yeah, he stuck to his guns, but everybody else, Davenport and Jay Bishop was done, and Mental. Even Mental said he getting alive.
But you know what? I can see Bishop being like that though, because as a matter of fact, I actually got to apologize to him, because I used to clown him about using the machine micro all the time. And after I started kind of primarily doing all sampling stuff in the MPC, I was looking at my MK3 and I'm like, I never use this thing. Like ever. So I ended up selling it, and I'm like, you know what, I'll get the micro just for like the few little projects that are like left over, and in case I ever want to go in and work in machine, because every now and then it's sometimes because of with me having like the complete package of their Native Instrument software, it's easier to do some stuff in machine, but I'm like, I never use this thing, so what is the point of me having it?
Right.
Hey, BA,
just kind of dropped the ball on that one.
Hey, BA, let me say this. When Tasher was there, like that was the first time a lot of us really met Tasher. Tasher do a lot of videos on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
He had a touch when he was there.
That was crazy.
That was crazy. I was like, whoa. He was like, yeah, man, I had to, man, because y'all guys was here, blah, 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 this, that, and other. So, like, it's happening. And with Jay Bishop, I seen him over there doing some stuff on that micro. Like, he was over there playing that micro like it was a keyboard. like soloing and I said, man, what the hell? Like that.
Just a micro? He didn't have like keyboard and nothing?
Just a micro.
Just a micro.
Bass
just
notes.
a micro.
He's playing like a bass.
Yeah, he's playing like a bass, and then he was playing some road stuff on there too, and I was like, whoa.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
But he wants a live too.
Yeah, he made a beat on your live, didn't he?
Huh?
He made a beat on your live and killed it.
Yeah, he did. He did make a beat on my live.
I think it's slowly but surely it's affecting everyone.
Well,
everybody's gonna end up getting either the live or the X.
Right. And then, not to really beat a dead horse, but there was a little thing going on with the live and everyone getting the live, because I can sit on the toilet and I can make a beat. That's why a lot of people get the live. And I'm not an Akai first guy, but it made sense. I get to travel. I bring that thing with me. I got battery power, and it's the same thing as an Akai. Why wouldn't you want to grab something like that?
Yeah.
Especially if you're on a move. Like, I take it to work. I'll bring out on my break times. So. And
see, that's the biggest thing for me too. Is like sometimes whenever I have like those like lunch break moments, and it's like I could be sitting here making a beat right now.
Yep.
And instead, I'm just like listening to talk radio or something. So, I've like thought about it, and I'm like, you know what? I'm probably eventually just gonna go ahead and make that move and just throw a solid state drive in it and just call it a day.
There you go.
Well, I'll say this: like, I got like a terabyte, or I think it's a 1.5 terabyte drive in my live. And it's a beauty to have all your drum sounds, all your samples and everything on a hard drive inside your live. Like I posted videos where I was sitting in the car making the beat, you know, and you can't, something else may be your main thing. Like Ableton may be somebody else's thing, FL Studio may be somebody else's thing, but imagine you working on your computer at home and then you say, well, I'm gonna finish these on the live, and then you take those stems and put them on the live and finish them up.
Done that.
Wherever you're at.
Absolutely. Fuck yeah.
Wow.
Can't miss. And it makes you want to, you know, I'm not an Ableton first guy, but I started learning Akai, man. Like, why not? Like, Akai, you know, I just like what they're doing. Machine, I feel, you know, at one point, everyone's with the machine. Everyone's talking good about the machine, but still haven't, you've not been able to.
They got comfortable.
Yeah, like, isn't this a software company here we're talking about? You know?
Yeah, I think I truly kind of believe that they got comfortable for a minute, and I think that I honestly feel like the Native Instruments was kind of calling Akai's bluff there for a second, because everybody had been like fussing about standalone, and so all you had was the studio and the Ren, and then the IMPC or whatever for the tablets and whatnot.
Yeah.
And Machine had been dominating, and I think they kind of got a little arrogant, and they got a little too relaxed. And you know, because if you look at even like the Machine expansions, they aren't really catering to hip hop and R&B like they initially did with a lot of the platinum bounce and a lot of the West Coast kind of packages and stuff like that. Now everything is either techno or EDM or, you know, something of that nature. So I think that they started focusing more on that crowd and DJing.
Right.
And Akai just was like, okay, well, we're gonna hold good on what our foundation was. And when they went back to the standalone and people started picking it up and was like, whoa, this is what it's about.
Go right ahead.
Yeah, you know, it was like the opposite. Native Instruments started off as software. I remember getting Battery when it first came out, Contact when it first came out. They were just a software company. I got Machine when it first came out. It was nowhere near MPC. But at the same time, when Machine came out, they were like the first to the race. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, they were the first to the race. But at the same time, like Native Instruments should have knew this was coming, because this is where Kai started doing standalone machines. You know what I'm saying? So once they seen how the Ren and the studio were doing, they were like, hold up, man. And then people in the forums kept saying, we want a standalone, we want another standalone. That's what happened. You know what I'm saying? The
smartest move for them should have been, rather than like after the MK2, the MK3 should have been a standalone unit. And then they could have just came out with the second gen for the complete control and all that other stuff like they normally do. But I think that it would have behooved them to have struck first with the standalone and let Akai play catch up. But they didn't do that.
You're right, and I think they invested with those kind of cheaper complete controllers. They could have went and did that with the MK3, made the MK3 standalone, and maybe offered a smaller one, which probably could have been hybrid or MIDI based. But make sure they had that standalone MK3.
Yep.
The studio should have been standalone.
Yeah, it really should have. Yeah, the studio should have been standalone. But you know, because you couldn't take it with you. I mean, it had to be in the studio. So
the problem is, to me, they couldn't get a good partnership with somebody. You know what I'm saying? Because some companies can't achieve that goal by themselves. Just like that's just like with Ableton couldn't even achieve that goal by themselves. So the first push they had to get up with Akai. Because Akai made the first push. You know what I'm saying? So when it came to that type of stuff, you know, they couldn't probably find the right partnership. But what I will say is this: Akaya has put everybody on their toes because you know the lazy chopping and stuff that the Renaissance and all that already had all the way up to now. None of those other platforms had that. Ableton didn't have it. Machine didn't have
sure
it.
Didn't.
As soon as Akaya did it,
Yep.
and everybody was talking about the lazy chop on there. Next thing you know, Push got it. The machine got the lazy chop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it makes it better for everybody. It puts the competitors on their heels to make them do the same thing.
We benefit, and we benefit from all that because we get all the, you know, it's a great thing. Straight up. I've always wanted to know, BA Mac. I'm sorry.
You're good.
What are your top 5 artists in any genre? 1 to 5, 5 to 1.
Ooh. Oh, that's a tough one right there. Top 5 all time?
Yep.
All right, this is I'm gonna kind of throw you a little bit.
Okay.
Number 5 is probably gonna be Bobby Womack.
Okay. Got a record right here.
Followed by Anita Baker.
Mm-hmm.
Then Victor Wooten. Aretha is probably gonna be number 2. And who would be my number 1? Smokey.
Wow.
Smokey Robinson.
Wow. It's funny you said Victor Wooten. I'm surprised you didn't say Marcus Miller.
Marcus Miller will not trump Victor Wooten.
Nah, but I'm just saying.
He's on the list. He is on the list. He's further down on the list though.
Wow.
Marcus Miller is a beast though.
Nice list.
Yeah, I'm an old soul. I don't have too many currents.
I think you're gonna say DC. I think you're gonna say little the baby.
Oh, boo.
Little grease ball.
Oh man.
You know what? I won't even. Trap music is just not my thing.
Yeah.
I try not to bash them. That's their thing. But you know, I think part of the problem is that hip hop kind of allowed too many micro subgenres.
Oh man.
To transpire, and that is the current state that it is in.
What are your thoughts on the evolution of that though? What are your thoughts? What do you think why it changed to where it is right now?
You know what? In ways, it kind of, to me, it kind of stagnated. But I think the biggest catalyst would probably be the mid 90 to 2000 era, where it was the P. Diddy and Bad Boy with the flashy suits and the on and them with the pink fur. I mean, it made hip hop become more seen as like a very, very lucrative thing to the mainstream, as opposed to what it originally started as. So you had basically culture vultures kind of swoop in and see that, okay, this is what they're doing. This is the kind of money that can be made from this. And it kind of just took off from there. And now it's more pop music than anything else.
Yeah. I would like to, I think about times where you just heard an R&B song. That was it. Now you gotta hear it's all over the place. Somebody's rapping, somebody's singing, or it's like never just, hey, let's get an R.
No, I mean, like, love songs don't even exist anymore.
No, you ain't lying.
They don't.
What the baby music?
They don't.
You gotta go refer to the old stuff for the baby music.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything has even a so-called blase blah R&B song got trap beat to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can get with it. I'm like I said, I'm very much like most of the time, like I don't even listen to radio. I'm pretty much primarily on the XM radio. I'm listening to Soul Town all the time of all of the of all of the oldies and stuff. And it's just kind of pretty much once you get from the 50s era up until about 1998, 2000 is kind of where I stop with a lot. I mean, and I'll listen to like some of the lesser knowns, and even some of the ones that are well known but are more like along the lines of like Rhapsody, and I'll listen to J. Cole and them every now and then. But for the most part, radio is not where I'm at, because it's just, I mean, you can't even differentiate really between, and it's not just hip hop. I mean, it's just radio in general. Like you can even turn on like a pop record, and it's like, I don't know who sings this. Is this Rihanna? Is this Katy Perry? Like, who is this?
You ain't lying. All right, you like Anderson .Paak?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, CX is going to ask you the our question we ask all our guests here on the Master Channel. We could give you a scenario. You go from there.
Okay.
All right. We usually ask people, this question that we have. If you were to receive a $10,000 store credit to Guitar Center, what would you buy? You have to spend it in store. So we need to hear your list.
I will add everything up for you and subtract. So you just.
All right, I will get 5. That will be first. The NBC Live. Man, why would you do that to me? I would probably get another bass, but which bass would I want? I'd probably get a Fedora bass. The Yin Yang.
What's that?
You have to look it up.
What's that run?
I think they're about $3,000.
Jeez. Okay, $3,000. We'll go there. You're 5,900.
Left?
Yep.
5,900 left. Man, I don't really have too much of. I gotta spend it. Dang.
You gotta spend it to get it.
Yep.
Okay, I would get a what's the doggone? What is it, the Apollo?
Ooh.
The twin or the
is it the 8? The one, the channel, the rack mount?
Rack mount joint. What is that, like $2,000?
Yeah, almost.
We go 2,000 ballpark. You got a sale on it. 4th of July. 30.
I would get some focal, however you pronounce it, studio monitors.
Focal. Oh, smack. What the hell are those? How much are those? Those.
Oh Lord, let me look real quick.
They sound like they might be Genelec price.
Mm-hmm.
They are
like $900 a piece.
Let me see. I wouldn't get the big ones. I would just get the little, like 6.5 inch.
6.5 inch.
Hang on, I'm looking.
Now the crazy thing when we ask people this, this question we asking you, one of the main things that most people never get, and that is power conditioning.
Nope.
Well, you know what? That is true. Because that would have been the last thing that I would have thought about.
We'll get you a Furman for $150.
Boo. See, I would need to have one of those, like some of the ones that I've seen is like the size of a little miniature generator. Mm-hmm. That would be the one that I would want.
Oh, that's like kind of like an APC.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like an AP. That's backup power as well.
Yep. It definitely make the difference.
Okay, yeah, they were $14.99 a piece, so I'm over budget.
Woo.
Good Lord have mercy.
$14.99 a piece. Well, you can.
Yeah.
You have enough. That'll put you're like 3,800 right now. You got about 3,000. So let's go.
Man, you wasn't playing. Good Lord.
800. You got almost $885.
You leave me alone, CX. I'm a woman.
But you want some foam or something?
Yeah, you gonna need to treat that room.
You gotta treat that room. We'll give you some room treatment. Go $200, so you want to get everything. Okay.
Let me see. How much I've got left?
You have $889 left.
Oh dang, I wouldn't be able to do too much treatment with that.
You might want to get a case for that $3,000 base.
It comes with one.
Oh, okay.
Oh, man.
Yeah, once you start getting up there like that, they come with them.
You might need a case for that live.
Oh yeah.
Well, I didn't even think about that.
About 100.
What are those gator cases run? Like 100, 150 usually?
Yeah.
Yep.
Close to 100.
Okay, 734.
734. I'd probably just go ahead and get the what they call them, the London kits for the room acoustics. I think they normally run about $600-700.
Okay, $700. You got enough for a Diet Dr. Pepper.
Hey.
Forrest Gump. Well, a case of them at least.
I would. How much is that? How much is left?
$34.98.
Okay, I would get a Mogami guitar cable, and then that would be it.
Wow. Well, very good, BA. Very good.
Whoa.
I know that was all over the place, but
No,
that was
really.
you was the first like high end
Yep.
person just to say, because everybody else broke it down on little stuff, and most people were like, man, I don't need nothing.
Yeah.
Okay.
A couple of those too. I'm like, okay.
I mean, but see, that's the difference. You don't need it, but if this were to occur,
Right. Shoot. If I
then I would do nothing.
So if I had 10 grand and the store credit, I was like, B, I need you to go ahead and take care, brother. I'll definitely hit you up. Straight up. That was good. It's crazy. Some people cannot spend it, or they do, it's like, I don't know what I need. Like, man, listen, you give me 10 grand in store credit and it ain't coming out my pockets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had them coming in gold plate my microphones and everything.
I'm gonna have a workstation for each part of each different software I use.
Straight up.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Straight up.
Because none of the stuff that I even listed is really, like I said, it's nothing that you need, but sometimes you just gonna have to go into that what if scenario of your wants. You can't say that there haven't been stuff that you looked at you wanted and you couldn't necessarily afford it at the time.
Right on. Straight up.
Because like a fedora base, I don't need a fedora base, but it would be lovely to have one.
Dang right. Shoot. I want to, there's some things that I want. I go ahead and look. And I say, man, I'll never grab one of these. Like, there's certain things I know I'm never going to own. But,
Yeah.
I'm addicted to used gear, especially Craigslist type. I'm addicted to it. Oh man, it's. I need to talk to somebody one day.
Yeah, it's like we yard sale fiends or something,
Man, I'm glad we do.
Yep.
But it is a reason we don't live in the same city, man. Hey, CX, man, over there by your house, man, they got a cord sitting right 200. Go and grab that up for me real quick, bro. I'll be there in the morning.
I think Hertz is worse.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I was been on the phone with him when he's actually bought a push from the pawn shop. Hold on, wild body, real quick. I'm about to buy a push. Yeah, how much? I'll give you $250 for it right now. What, $3? Oh yeah, cool. You want this MK3 too? I was like, yeah. He'll sell everything and then he don't worry about it because he'll have the same setup like a month later. Buy selling dude, man.
Shame on him, man. But you know what? I can't even talk because I'm the same way, especially whenever it have come to like like the guitars and basses and stuff.
Yeah.
I dedicated myself to learning how to work on them and like refinish them and stuff like that.
Wow.
And so sometimes there have been times where I've looked on the internet and like seen stuff at pawn shops, and it'll be a good quality guitar or bass, but because the person is like dinged it up and the paint is peeling and all kinds of stuff, they'll be wanting to sell it for like dirt cheap price.
Right.
It's like, okay, I'll go ahead, and they'll be looking at you like you're crazy, and it's like, nah, I know how to fix this thing up. So
Right. Well, you know how I look at it? If I buy something new for $200, you get what you pay for with this gear. But if I get something that's worth $600 and I pay $200 for it, I'm still getting a $600 quality. That's
right.
what I always preach. Like, man, no, don't get that for $200. Get the used one, that's worth like $700, and it's gonna give you a $700 quality, but you can get it for $700. You got it for $300.
And sometimes all that some of the stuff just needs to be cleaned up a little bit.
Yep.
I mean, that's it.
That's it. I mean, it's not like you buying a used car where you got to check the mileage and everything.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We're talking about equipment. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Something that I can't speak on guitars and basses, but I know when you're buying drum machines, mixers, and all that, interfaces and all that, mileage really, it's not really mileage on it that you have to worry about. You just have to worry about circuitry. If the circuitry, something's messed up, that's it.
And most of the time, that's good. A lot of times, it's just cosmetic wear on it. Because I mean, unless you got, people pouring a whole bottles of Coca-Cola or something down it or something like that, which hey, sometimes you find stuff like that, but for the most part, it's just dusty and dirty, or might have some dents and scratches, and that's about it.
Kids spilling tang.
I'm gonna say this. I remember when the SB12 had came out, and a friend of mine was like, "Man, my neighbor got a drum machine." This had to be like in the 80s. He was like, "My neighbor has a drum machine, but he don't know what to do with it. It don't work." So I was like, "Okay, well, let me see it." And turn around, it was an SB12. I brought it for $75.
Oh, wow.
And I took it, and the only thing that was wrong with it, the fuse was blown in the back of it. And I brought an SB12, and I had the SB12 for a while until I got the 1200. Whoa.
A little puppy.
There's some people next door. But yeah, always been on the used gear like that as well. But another question we want to ask you, BA. Now, what's on your master channel, your signal chain as far as plugins?
Ooh. Every time, it's always going to be the FGX from Slate Digital.
Oh.
On every single time. It's just something about that particular plugin, and it varies once you start. And U-Lean, I do put U-Lean on the master channel just for the LUFS meter, because it's free, just to make sure that I stay within that like -14 to -16 range. But other than that, I mean, it kind of just it varies, but FGX is always going to be in there. I highly recommend Slate Digital.
Absolutely.
Highly recommend Slate Digital, especially their everything bundle.
Yeah.
Gracious of life.
Yeah.
Shout out to Dixie Freely for that.
Straight up. You like the new synth they came out with, the A&A joint?
You know what? I played around with it one day, and it kind of reminded me a lot of Arturius Pigments.
All right.
A little bit. So I mean, I haven't used it in a track or nothing like that, but I mean, it came free because of the little Slate everything bundle package that I paid for. But I haven't had a chance to really sit down and fully play with it all the way.
Yeah, I wish we could stop using these iLocks, because changing computers, I gotta buy another iLock or change them over, and those things are real easy to lose.
Yeah,
but
it's the same thing with those little e-licensors with like some of the Steinberg stuff.
Yeah, like why even do that?
I don't know. I refuse to buy another one of mine. I've got some Gorilla Tape around the around the edge of it because it ended up getting like crushed underneath something. Like whenever I had it in my backpack one time and was taking my laptop.
She said Gorilla Tape.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Hey.
It's crazy, man, because at one time they used to use like the ID of your machine ID. Then it was your network ID. You know, the network card inside there, the MAC address, which is like it's like something that's embedded in your computer. And the ILAC aspect, that's just a piracy thing. But I mean, you can't get it. Most of the stuff some stuff just can't get pirated. Like Reason 10 on up cannot be pirated. You know.
Yeah, because Reason is the same way, isn't it? Because I think you either got to log in online, or you got to have that what they call it, the ignition key or something.
Fort Knox.
Yeah, but you can also add your computer so as though you don't have to have, because I added my computer, so I don't have to have the key or log in internet wise. But you can only add like 1 or 2 computers. After that, you got to use the iLocks and the online login in order to use it.
Oh, okay.
That's too much. Fort Knox. Get into that. Hey, BA, I asked you a question now. What's some of your, you give the audience here your handle, man, and where we can find some of your music at?
You can find me on Spotify right now. I recently just released a project called Aerial Spectrum. You can catch me on Twitter at BAMac964. Twitter is pretty much where I'm at. And on Facebook.
Okay. So, Aerials. Okay, cool.
And that's BAMAC.
Gotcha.
Sometimes people want to add the K on there.
You said aerial what? Aerial spot?
Aerial Spectrum.
My bad. True. I don't know how I forgot that spot. That's dope, man. So I mean, basically, that's basically it. I mean, man, we definitely enjoyed your company. Definitely enjoyed. It was a great interview, I think, man. It was informative. A lot of jewels thrown, and man, this is great. So. CX, anything else you want to add, brother?
No, I enjoyed having BA here,
Absolutely.
Much appreciated.
We need to have more. I don't want to sound sexist or nothing like that, but we need to have more female producers.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was thinking that earlier. Whenever he had the Freudian slip and said BG, and I was thinking about, but I was thinking about, how many female producers have y'all like come across with this whole sort of thing? Because I mean, I know they're out there. I mean, it's almost kind of similar to like me and one of my friends were talking about with the whole female gamer thing. Like for the longest time, people thought that it was like a female gamer was like a unicorn in the forest somewhere, like it didn't exist. But I know that there are female producers out there. I just wish more would kind of come to the limelight.
Well, I feel that people like you, with your talents and all that, are definitely would be kind of like the flag holder for that. And I think more people see that, hey, there's people out here killing it. Like yourself and a couple others. I think that's definitely some kind of, not saying movement, but definitely very, you wouldn't believe how many females that are sitting there with Fruit Loops right now that you're probably going to inspire once they see you and hear what you do. That's like, what she's doing, and I'm going to inspire to be what she, do what she's doing. Professional woman. On the side, I do this, and I'm striving to be a musician, or I am a musician. I think that's a great thing, and I do wish we had more female producers out there, because
I think sometimes it's and I don't mean this in a negative way either, but sometimes I think there's like an intimidation factor, because
I was ready to say that.
It's so heavily male predominant, but with me, like I grew up with all brothers, so I'm used to being around and interacting with more dudes than females anyway. So it was never really that factor for me. But I know that there's some females that feel like that, oh, will I be harassed or stuff like that, and it's like just getting comfortable.
Right.
I think is probably the biggest thing.
Well, I'll tell you a crazy story. I'm not gonna say any names, but it's a female artist I was dealing with, and I like how she good lyrics, real crazy presence on the mic. She said, "Do you think that I'm dope?" I said, "I do. I think you are dope." She said, "I've had problems in the past to where I try to go to studios and people sell me all this stuff, and they don't even care about my artistry. They're just trying to get with me and stuff." And he said, "I don't even know if I'm good enough." I said, "I think you're great. It's not about that with me. Plus, you like my family." But
yeah.
I'm like, a lot of females deal with that, and some of them don't want to deal with that, and I don't blame them. So
yeah, I mean, and like I said, I mean, I know that there's definitely those wolves in sheep's clothing out there, but I have to say that I'm very much grateful and appreciative of folks like you and CX and Gadget and Tashir and all for kind of taking me and BG under y'all's wing as like little sisters and not being the type of dudes that even approach it like that, because I like the whole time that I've even been with the whole CMA and Scratch Mag crew, like nobody has ever talked to me or approached me in any cross manner ever. And I'm incredibly appreciative of that.
That's right.
It speaks to y'all's character as well. So
my whole thing is like I know a lot of dudes are intimidated by other dudes. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I can only imagine how they would feel if it's a female. You know what I'm saying? That's dogging them beat wise. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And my whole thing is like, hip hop's supposed to be like, whereas though, if you dope, you dope. I don't care what you look like, where you from, or whatever.
Talk to him.
You know what I'm saying? You dope. That's all to it. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
And that's what it should be.
Yep.
Yeah, and I keep cutting it out, man. This damn dog next door.
It's all good.
But yeah, I feel you, and I like I said, if you dope, you dope. I don't care who you are. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, to me, I think it has to do with confidence. I mean, because a lot of people are so self-conscious, male and female, of just letting people hear their stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I mean, and I'll be honest. I mean, that's part of the long hiatus that I have kind of taken. Is like, as a matter of fact, I posted it on Twitter the other day. Like, we as producers and creatives and stuff like that, like sometimes like when our mental space isn't right, that it affects us creatively. And there's nothing wrong with taking a moment and just stepping back and getting your mental space right and cleaned up before you start trying to approach putting your stuff out there. And it can definitely deal with you trying to look at it from the aspect of I'm not good enough, or looking at other people putting stuff out and it's like, oh, everybody's receiving it this way, or they've got so many views and listens and stuff like that. So I can understand it to a certain extent, but you just kind of have to have that mental strength and overcome that.
All right. That's why I also attribute Computer Music Academy for when we were doing the WHA. There's a lot of people that were afraid to even present their stuff, and I think brought a lot of people out of their shell, man. And we never would have heard, say certain, like a BA Mac or DJ Widebody or not saying Gemini or those guys, which I made beats for me. I didn't really, I just started really presenting. And back home we used to do beats for the neighborhood. Everybody want to rap, but now being able to have a forum and a site to put your stuff out and to share your artistry with everybody, and everyone to appreciate it. Which is
that's true. And I think it helps to get back to that foundation too, because I think for the most part, all of us at some, well, I won't say all of us, I would say the majority of us, because there are some people that go into production solely for making money, but I think those that truly love it went into it for the love of the craft.
Wow.
And as long as you kind of keep that in the forefront, like all of the other stuff will come, like the successes and all the other, but as long as you're continuing to put that same heart and soul and mentality of, I'm doing this because I love this, I'm chopping samples on the MPC because I love the MPC workflow and I love my beats whenever I chop samples. Like, you know, that's the aspect of it that you should look at, and then everything else will follow. Man,
I'm what you're saying. I say the same thing. Real quick, I mean to talk you to death. About a couple years ago, I seen somebody post something. I'm selling all my equipment. I'm done with all this. Why you doing that, man? Well, I be sending these beats all the people ain't listening to me, this and that. I ain't gonna ever get nowhere doing this. I said, man, that's where you're wrong at. First of all, you're in it for the wrong reason. You're in it for the money. You love it. And you make it. If I love this, if I never made a penny off of this, I'm a die happy man, because I'm not in it for that. Now, if I was to make some money off of it, that's a plus. But I don't go into this thinking some get rich quick scheme or I'm trying to take over the world. No, man. You can tell those who trying to make money and the ones who love it. The ones, that person happened to be a person that he wasn't too tuned with his craft, and saying is you're not stopping to, hey, let me really love this. Let me make sure that I'm mixing this right, or let me make sure that I'm making transitions or putting instrumentation or making it sound like a real song. Oh, I'm just gonna put a couple samples out here, loop a couple samples, put some drum breaks on it. Hey, this is it. You can tell from that person's music that you're not in it because you love it. You in it because you think you trying to make $1 million.
Yeah,
and never gonna work.
Clout chasing and popularity chasing.
Yep.
But you can really tell it.
Yeah, you can tell. But you know, some people, you know, they do go through those phases. You know, I mean, because it's different phases with this music, and you know, the music when you're a creator.
Yeah.
You go through. So I mean, all of us go through different phases. Where one morning we might wake up and say, "Man, I'm tired of this goddamn music shit." And, you know what I'm saying? But some people, they're when they're tired of it, they're, you know, it may be extreme to me or you or BA, but that's how they deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't gonna say my homeboy name, but I mean, look how many times when he said he was tired of it, sold all his equipment, then to get it back and this, that, and other. Mm-hmm. You know, some people have to go through those trials and tribulations to get to a step where they're at, to where as though when they sold their equipment so much that when they end up with one piece, the next thing you know, they're making all this fire with that one piece.
Well, let me say this, bro, and I'm gonna use you for example, CX. You're a guy. You've been loving this for a while. You're to the point where, man, if I hear your shit on, you know what I mean? You're at that level. You know, there's a lot of people that don't put their dues in, like you've put your dues in, and when you play something, you can tell that you love it and you put your dues into it, and you studied the craft and you basically cracked the code. There's not a lot of people that I can say have cracked the code like you. So you're on a different type of plateau. Them people, you know, for somebody to come in off let me just grab this machine real quick and I'm gonna just start making beats tomorrow, and by next year I'm expecting to be on, and if I'm not, then you're like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I feel what you're saying, but we can't get discouraged, because that one person who may come in, like you just said, they may make the dumbest beat, and that beat will get placement.
True, I've seen that too.
And then you might be like, man, what am I doing wrong?
Right.
It's, you know, it's some things. One thing I learned in life, and I think we all should apply it. Some things that look like a blessing to us, to somebody else, that's being bestowed upon somebody else, could actually be a curse.
Exactly.
True.
Exactly.
True. No.
My mother have always taught us, me and my brothers, the exact same thing, that never sit back being envious of something that you perceive as a blessing for somebody else, because that very well may be something that is a burden upon their life.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So
true indeed.
I feel you on that one, CX.
Yeah. So I mean, we just gotta keep going. You know what I'm saying? We all gotta keep going. I mean, what we do, it doesn't have an age limit on it. We're not up there rapping or jumping on stage, you know. We're producers, so we can be in the background till we're 80 plus. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you write software code, you could do that while you're in a wheelchair. You know what I'm saying?
Right
so
up.
you can literally keep doing this until you can't no more.
Right.
And you know, kind of to piggyback off on that too, because like my nephew, he's getting ready to turn 18, but him and some of his friends and stuff were kind of thinking about, you know, starting making beats and stuff like that. And a lot of what is being, or what I see is being perpetuated to the youth is you either have to go all music production and don't work, don't go to school, don't do anything, or you be stuck in prison at a 9-to-5 or something like that. And that, to me, that's like the wrong perception, because you like, my 9-to-5 has afforded me the ability to be able to produce.
There you go.
And until you get to that point where your production is your primary source of income, and it's a consistent primary source of income, don't look at, you know, you going to college and going to class, and then after class coming back to your dorm room making beats as if it's a bad thing, or you going to, you know, work at McDonald's for a few hours and then come home. And like, you can do more than one thing.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to just feel like that, well, I'm going to be locked in one or the other and I won't have any other means. You know.
Straight up.
Multiple streams of income.
Yep.
Multitasking, time management.
Yep.
It's gonna be done, man. You see it all the time. You know, I don't know when Gadget sleeps, man. You know,
me either. That man is a workaholic. I think he's got Diddy beat.
Yeah.
He has a good wife, man.
Yeah.
He has a good wife.
That's dope.
He has a good wife.
So, all right. Well, that being said, once again, you can check BA Mac out on Twitter, BA Mac 964. Also on Spotify, Aerial Spectrum is a release. Stay tuned for more BA Mac. Also check her out on Facebook as well. So we're gonna go ahead and end it. That's gonna do it for this episode of the Master Channel. I'd like to thank BA Mac once again. I am DJ Wide Body.
I am CX, the producer.
And this is the Master Channel, where we talk about the ins and outs of the hip-hop culture, both theoretically and technically. Until next time, for BA Mac and CX, the producer, I'm DJ Wide Body, saying peace and love. See you next time.